Now, from CBS 4 News, this is Facing South Florida with Jim DeFede.
Good morning, I'm Jim DeFede and welcome to Facing South Florida. Some things in life are predictable. For instance, when gun violence in South Florida gets to the point where it becomes national news on CNN, you can count on local politicians to come out en masse to hold press conferences decrying that violence. And then, when the story and the headline subside, the politicians move on. Make no mistake, the gun violence remains. It's the politicians who fade away. In the meantime, the people we should be hearing from, the folks who live in the community, continue their solitary work of trying to make their lives better. Today, we are going to hear from three of them. Lyle Muhammad from the Circle of Brotherhood, Charles Williams from Generational Cure, and Crystal Foster, who started the group We Stand for Justice. Now, you might not agree with what they have to say, but their voices are worth hearing.
Too often the conversation is a commercialized response to incidents, and it never really goes into understanding the root causes of the violence that takes place in our communities, and it never goes into really dealing with the real lifetime, present time trauma after effects of just living in a community where shootings take place on a regular basis.
Everyone plays a part in gun violence, whether it comes from, from politicians to the pastors to the community, and most important, the parents. It starts in our household. There's a lot of broken families. There's a lot of mental illness. We're in COVID, depression, no jobs, finances. So there's a lot of different areas that needs to be tackled in order for us to reduce it. We cannot stop the gun violence, but to reduce the gun violence.
What is it that is being done currently on the grassroots level through organizations such as your own and the work that you each do? And what more needs to be done? Charles, I'll throw to you.
From a grassroots level, as you and I discussed yesterday, Generational Cure produces an 88% success rate for post-secondary education. I just posted a young man graduating from our organization that was abandoned by his mother and father that has ADHD, but he's now enrolled in college. The thing is, we have a personal approach with our organization because a lot of times these young people are missing the parental aspect at home. They don't have it. Or the parent may be missing some things that they actually need. They may need some help, some assistance, some parenting advice. These are some of the things that our organization provides, helping young people get through their problems.
But what does it take for a young person to get to the point where they pick up a gun?
America's the most violent country, gun-loving country on the planet. It's very easy to see how children who are born out of that system and raised on that system would look to the same thing. The second point I think is more crucial for what we're talking about, Jim, and that's this. A lot of times people really don't want to deal with the reality of what has caused the condition of the human being that lives in the kind of condition that produces this kind of gun violence. It stems from the other side of the coin of white supremacy. Wherever white supremacy systems and practices and cultures exist, the other side of that coin is Black inferiority. And if I'm raised up in a culture of oppression and poverty and Black inferiority, it produces self-hatred. And then we result to violence like every other level of so-called civilized person in America.
Do they not value their lives? Do they not believe that their life has the same value as a kid who grows up in maybe Coral Gables or Aventura?
It's not them that they're not valuing their life. The problem is that, for one, they are looking for the attention. They don't get that love and attention. That's most of the reason. So they go to the streets and they look for the attention. And so then when it goes to attention, they don't have the finances. So then you have someone that is willing to pay them a little of nothing to go out and do a hit or to kill someone. And they feel that that's their love. The people that they're hanging with, that's the love that they're getting. The biggest issue we have is our state laws. We have some more harsh sentencing. If the juvenile system, the judges stop allowing these juveniles to continue to get in and out of jail, it would definitely minimize a lot of this violence.
It almost sounds to me like you're saying that once that kid picks up that gun, uses that gun, that kid is lost. That there is no redeemable way back for that kid. Do you believe that?
I believe in second chances. You have people that actually has done something in their life, done a crime and went to prison, but has been mentored, has given the resources and the help that was needed and changed their life. So people do deserve second chances. But when you have someone like a child that picks up a gun, and they kill, that's a whole nother level. They have no value of human life. They don't have no value no more for themselves. And our kids are just lost. Our kids are lost, and we just have so much more work that needs to be done, and it's just being ignored. And I'm just lost of words. We're losing our children every second.
Yeah, I just want to be clear, and I definitely understand I dear Sister Crystal's sentiment, but I do vehemently disagree with one point, and that is who and what these so-called young men are. And we have to be very, very careful, because when society starts categorizing and naming our young men as animals and as irredeemable, first of all, we forget who the zookeepers are. First of all, we forget who the animal makers are. And if we arrested and locked up every single violent person today, right now, do you know we'd have to use those very same resources to do the same thing the very next day? Because we have not dissolved and disbanded the culture that produces that violence. My last point is, I work with those young brothers that you're talking about, and I work with them across the country. It's the so-called most irredeemable, most violent of them all, and I never met one who was irredeemable. I met some who may not have been ready for change or transformation, but when you have people who do the work that I do, the work that Brother Child, we're born to reach those young brothers. And to be quite honestly, it's almost like second nature, but we don't get the support. The money goes into locking and policing instead of allowing us to transform those lives.
Charles, go ahead. Jump in there.
Actually, I was just in agreement with Brother Lau. You're looking at someone who's faced maybe in excess of 100 years in prison, who was considered to be irredeemable, actually who was told by teachers I wouldn't graduate. I was misdiagnosed, mislabeled, to later find out that I was above grade level, 2 levels above grade level. Sometimes we don't know what our young people are dealing with. I have a young man, like I just stated, who was abandoned by his mother and his father. Sometimes we need to find out what the issue is, as opposed to just labeling these young people and believing that here's the problem and it's just that simple. These issues are deeper than what we believe. It's much deeper than surface. I understand what Sister Crystal was saying in regards to needing harsher punishment. We already understand that we lead the nation in incarceration. The population of Black people in America lead the nation in incarceration. We don't need to lean heavier into incarceration. We need to lean heavier into intervention and prevention.
We all mean well, but I just feel like and again, it goes back to if the people that are funding these organizations, I see, they're having conversations about it, but most of these people have never been through that life. They've never walked through the streets. They've never had conversations with these children who are living in poverty, that has that lack of parentinghood, that has, if you've never, robbed anyone, picked up a gun, been in prison, if you've never been through anything in life, you cannot really understand the mindset of our children. You cannot even have a conversation to understand the mindset of our children.
So much of this is also about the police. And what should the role of the police be as we move forward?
We're talking about increasing policing in the community. That's reactive. So what you're going to do now is decrease the level of trust and respect that the community has for the police, because they're going to be overly aggressive and they're going to be in the communities, of course, trying to make things safer in essence, which is commendable. That's great. We want lives to be saved. I want to make sure that people understand what I'm saying. We want lives to be saved, and we want lives to be valued. That being said, locking up individuals is their business. That's their job. That's what they do. They're not here to help us better the community. Making it safer will actually make them less of a priority. That's all I'll say.
I lost my sister-in-law in a drive-by shooting, right? So I know what it feels like. And the guy who killed my sister-in-law was released from jail and wound up killing another family. So when I say harsher punishment, when it comes to the law, I'm a witness and a victim of it.
Okay.
My brother was killed by a police officer that has killed 3 people and shot 6 people in less than 10 years. So when you talk about policing, let's be mindful. And I'm still going and fighting for this case because this officer, you know, is still patrolling the streets and was promoted 1 month after killing my brother. My brother was shot 7 times in the back. So when you talk about policing, let's talk about bringing the right policing back into the neighborhoods, having the policing, you know, get to know the neighbors, having the policing get to know the children, play with the children, pick the children up. You know, it's different type of policing. But I must say, do we need policing in our communities? Of course, we cannot live in a community without the police. Absolutely not. And I have really, I've hated police officers for a long time after my brother was killed, but I've learned to know that there's some good officers out here. There's some good detectives and majors and chiefs out here, and I'm so blessed to have them in my life. But they need to really reevaluate when they're talking about bringing the federal in here and, you know, all these people in here to rush out our community, making sure that they're doing it the right way and bringing the right people in our community.
Is there any reason for optimism at this point? Do you believe that things are getting better, staying the same, or going to continue to get worse?
Oh, let me just tell you, we are going to have a bloody summer. And, you know, I pray, because we are our America in Miami, Broward, South Florida, we need a whole lot of prayer, healing. But if they don't tackle, like Brother Lau, like they're saying, the actual issues and fund the actual effective organizations that are out here doing the work that knows what is needed, we are definitely going to have a bloody summer. I mean, we've lost so many children this year. It is just, I mean, I'm so lost of words. And it took a massive, what they call a mass shooting for them to, you know, come with a plan and to activate when our mothers that are crying because, you know, no one's talking to the mothers that are grieving. There's not a grieving process. No one's speaking to the mothers. No one's speaking to the fathers. And that is so important. You have a father that just lost his son that interrupted a press conference saying, you know, my brother's keeper, but instead they pushed him away and he has a voice. Allow these parents to speak.
God's will not be frustrated. And it doesn't mean we're not going to go through more turmoil and more bloodshed, but I will guarantee you in the end, because you have individuals like the ones you have gathered here, we're not going to stop until we get what's deserved.
So I believe that life and death lie in the power of the tongue. So I won't say that this will be a bloody summer. I won't say that. But what I will say is this. Faith without works is dead. So as long as we continue to believe that this can end, then it will, as long as we do the work. We can't believe that it's going to end and not do the work. That being said, Jim, Brother Lyle is absolutely correct. It is criminal for a lot of our local politicians, those that even look and sound like us, to get into office, to know the work that's being done, to shake hands, make promises, smile in our faces during that time of campaigning. And then once we have them elected into office, they don't respond to emails, they deny our meetings, or they just avoid us altogether for the sake of seeing us out in public, attending our events and taking pictures with us, but not providing the resources that are necessary.
We'll be right back with another look at how local politicians use Spanish language radio to spread lies about the January 6th insurrection.